Welcome back, you guys. Today's another beautiful day of doing some deck profile. Today we'll be going over Youthberk post DZBT12. So why should you play Youthberk? Youthberk, honestly, it's one of the easiest deck, very competitive still. Cost-wise, it's still kind of expensive, but not the worst in my opinion. And it's still a fun deck. And you want to be an edgy guy, breaking the rock and listening to punk rock, then this is the deck for you. I have attached a video right here in this picture. It tells you what time I'm talking about, what part of this deck. You can feel free to use that as a reference to skip to what you want to learn about the deck. All right, let's focus on the right line. In the right line, we have the grade 0 Youthberk, Youth, grade 1 Youth, grade 2 Youth, and the new form of Youthberk, aka Youthberk Rebuild. So the grade 0, doesn't matter if you have the OG version or the new version, it's the same skill. The grade 1 and grade 2, I'm running the new version. So grade 1, upon written by the grade 2, you get to Soul Blast 1, look at top 5 cards, choose one of them, and if one of them is a Youthberk name, then you keep putting it in your hand. If it's anything else, if it's grade 2 or less unit, you have to call it to the rigor circle. Grade 2, written by grade 3 Youthberk, or RevolDressing ability unit, you can Energy Blast 3, and then look for one grade 2 or greater card from the drop zone and add it to your hand. And the new Youthberk form. So this is the one that actually has a main difference. At the end of the battle, this unit attack, perform one of the following: choose up to one card from one card with the Revolt form in its name from your hand and write it as stand, and it gets -2 drive until end of turn. Or you can counterblast one, and then you can choose a card with the RevolDressing card name from your drop zone and write it as stand. So this is what makes this card a lot better than the original previous versions, is that you can have the option to write from the drop or from hand. That is significantly better and consistent, so that way your grade 3s that are end up in your hand can be a ride fodder, and counterblast is not a huge cost in my opinion for this deck. It doesn't require too much counterblast. And then last but not least, I forgot that's another part of the skill. When this unit is rolled upon by during the battle phase, you can discard a card from your hand, choose one card and choose one of your vanguards, and increase or decrease the drive to 1. So when it rewrites RevolDress, you discard one card, you gain that drive back to 1, which is really good because then you don't have to run that one card. I forgot her name. It's a grade 1 witch, by putting a soul to set your vanguard to 1 drive. So that opens up space. And when this unit will write on a grade 3 card with Revolt form in its name, bind that unit that was rolled upon instead of putting a soul. So when you de-ride and go back to the rebuild form, instead of keeping it in a soul, this would go into the bind zone, which is crucial because we'll go over that in a second here. All right, let's go over the main deck. For the grade 3s, we of course run 3 copies of the new Youthberk, aka the rebuild. Then we run a playset of new Superior Ride, which is called Exist. Then 3 copies of Nebula Knight Order, which is the most broken card in current meta, and the Fire Regalis. Fire Regalis is there because it's free. It's not play order for the turn. You can activate it from hand or drop, and you can build a board out of it. Worst case, you draw a card out of it. Nebula Knight Order. Okay, so you might be seeing this card a lot, and people asking or selling or buying this card a lot because how generically good it is. It's honestly meant for Nebula Knight deck, which is shown in the second part of the skill. But the first part of the skill is what everyone's abusing in any Keter deck right now. This card can be played from drop, so you can use it from hand or drop. So it's a ride fodder or a discard fodder in general. You can play this card by binding this card and perform one of the following. You could, which you would use to activate the first part, which is look at top 7 card of the deck, choose up to 1 unit card with a grade less than or equal to your Vanguard, and call it to the rigor circle and shuffle the deck. So not only does it, 1, it's a free cost you can activate from drop. 2, you get to build a board out of it for free pretty much. And then 3, you get to shuffle your deck. All right. Moving on to Exist. So the new form. When this unit is placed in a Vanguard circle with RevolDressing ability, perform all of the following. You Energy Blast 3, choose one of your rear guards, restand it. All of your front row gains additional 10k until end of the turn. And if you have a bind zone card with the same with a card with a Revolt form in its card name, that they get 20k instead of 10k. That's the important part that I was talking about earlier, that after you rewrite back into rebuild, you get to put this in the bind zone. It helps you get that extra 10k on top of the other 10k. And last but not least, If your bind zone has a card with this same card name in the bind zone, your Vanguard gains a crit. At the end of the turn, you choose a card with the RevolDress ability from your soul and rewrite it rested. So by superior writing and then going back to the your rebuild, aka your base form, having this one, the following turn, you persona ride and you go into exist, your front row is getting 30k and your Vanguard is getting an extra crit. So it's a very high number and it's very aggressive playstyle. Moving on to the grade 2 of the deck. We're going to, of course, run playset of, I forgot his name, Edenfield, 2 copies of Teethfall, 3 copies of Teethfall, 2 copies of Bessolotine, some German name, and then 1 copy of Ace Unit. Ace Unit is there just so you can fish out one of these 2 cards. They're your heavy hitters. And also just because you can hit Unga Bunga numbers with Ace card also. Ace card on the Keter is Energy Blast 3 upon playing to the rearguard circle. Other than the battle phase, this unit gains 5k. You Energy Blast 3, look at top 7 cards, choose up to 1 normal unit with grade less than or equal to your Vanguard and call it to the rearguard circle. Choose that unit or this unit, and until end of your opponent's next turn, it gains continuous skill. This unit cannot be chosen by your opponent's card ability or retired by your opponent's card's ability. Then you shuffle the deck. And then second skill, when this unit attacks, if your opponent's grade 3 or greater, until end of the battle, this unit gains 5k, and if you have 4 or more rearguards, it gains additional 5k. So the turn that you play this unit, it pretty much can get up to 15k power extra on top of just base 10k. So it's a 25k beat stick. Alright, the German name sounding one. Skill, you can activate this from the drop zone when your grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Youthberk and its card name is placed during your ride phase, and if you do not have a rearguard with the same name as this card, you Soul Blast 1 and call this unit to the rearguard circle. So you can either Soul Blast one of the Youthberks that you put in the soul, so it helps you so you can superior ride from the drop, or you can filter out your soul and you can call this for free. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Youthberk and its card name, this unit gains additional 5k shield and power. So it's a 10k shield and 10k beat stick. And if your bind zone has another Youthberk in its card name, this gains additional 5k. So during your second grade 3 turn, this will be base 15k beat stick. Teethfall hasn't changed at all. If you played an order this turn and you call this unit, aside from a unit's ability, you can Soul Blast 1 and then look at top 5 cards, choose up to 1 card among it and call it to the rearguard. And when this unit attacks a grade 3 or greater unit, and if I have 4 or more units on board, this gains additional 10k. So it becomes a 20k beat stick. So what you could do is play Nebula Knight order from the drop, fetch it out, and get your free board. Moving on to this guy. When this unit is placed in a rearguard circle, if you have Vanguard with Youth in its card name, of course you would. Counterblast 1, look at top 7 cards, search the deck, choose up to 1 card among them, reveal it, and perform one of the following, and shuffle the deck. If the revealed card has a Youthberk in its card name, you put it into the hand. If you reveal the card that's a unit card with a different name from this unit and grade less than or equal to your Vanguard, call it to the open rearguard circle. So it builds your board, or it can help you search the Youthberk exist into your hand. Second skill, when this unit attack, you can Soul Blast 1 for each card with a Youthberk and its card name in your Vanguard circle, and in your bind zone, this unit gains additional 5k until the end of the turn. So it's a beat stick, search the deck, and also builds your board. Now moving on to the grade 1s of the deck. Of course, you got to still play the playset of Carinos because they're amazing. And then a playset of the Duggo, Man's Best Friend, Saragon. And then 1 Hello Kitty and 4 PGs. So PGs you don't need to go over because they're pretty generic. Hello Kitty, same thing. Keter version is upon playing on a rearguard or a guardian circle, you put 2 cards from your right deck face up. It can be from the soul or drop. If it's on the guardian circle, it becomes a 20k shield. If it's on a rearguard circle, upon play, look at top 5 cards of the deck, and then choose up to 1 card among them and call it to the rearguard circle. And if it's not your main phase and it's called out during a battle phase, that called out unit gets rested. Saragon, it's pretty generic. It's still that if you played in order or if you have more rearguards than your opponent, this unit gains 5k. At the end of the battle, this unit boosts it. Look at top 2 cards, choose one of them, put it to the hand, and put the other one to the bottom of the deck. Carino, if you need a little reminder, all it does is if this is placed on a rearguard circle from the deck during your turn or discarded from your hand during your turn, if you have a Vanguard with the Youth in this card name, you can search the deck or drop up to 1 Revolve form card and add it to your hand. And if you search the deck, then you have to shuffle the deck. If you put a card into the hand, choose a card from your hand and put it into the soul. So, still generic. We'll go with the combos later. For the trigger lineup, we run, of course, the blue OT, 3 fronts, and then you can run 8 crits and 4 heals. In theory, you could switch these 2 generic heals out to do the effect heals for the current meta of the restanding one, because a lot of the decks that are top tier are all about restanding. But for this deck, I didn't really care to put it in there, so screw that. For the OT, you can change it to either the green or yellow or red. But personally, I like the blue one, so I can fish out a card from the drop zone that I need, and also gives an extra crit to any unit on board and 100 mil. The green one, the new one that just came out, it's not a bad OT, but I feel like whatever drive checks gets the crit and extra drive. But most often than not, if when a Youthberk Vanguard attacks, your opponent does PG anyways, so it kind of defeats the purpose for me. The red one, yeah, you can argue resending rearguard. It's nice, but sometimes if they survive, it kind of becomes pointless. The yellow one, yellow is the one that aka the piss OT. It retires everything on board on their opponent's side, and you also get to draw out of open rearguard circles. But I feel like this deck doesn't need the retires. It doesn't really help much with the end game push. So ultimately, I think the extra crit with the 100k and fishing out a card from the drop is what I personally liked. For Mulligan search, these are like the top 5 cards I would search out for. Corino, just so you can filter your deck and get the Youthberk exist onto your hand or onto the soul. It comes in handy. The dog, just so you can filter it out your deck. Also get to draw out of it and have a 13k booster is always nice. The grade 2, he's always good because upon play you get to either search or call, build a board, and it's a beat stick that helps out. NKO is just so good. It's a free discard and you can activate it from the drop. So, and it allows you to build a board pretty much for free. So you want to search at least hit it at least once. The other grade 2, the German guy, I mean, he's nice because you can use him as a discard fodder, and he can be called out for free the second you go into grade 3 by Soul Blasting 1. And it's also a nice little beat stick and all guard value. So your combo, I guess, first one will be the revolving around Corino. Upon discard, you ride, activate Corino skill, search the deck for exist, and you put it into the soul. And you have other cards in the deck that revolves around soul blasting, so having it in the soul at least helps you filter out your deck, aka thin out your deck for more higher chance of hitting triggers, but also guaranteeing you having exist in the drop zone instead of the damage zone. Because if it's in the damage zone, there's no recoverable way aside from hitting the heal trigger, and that's it. You need to hit exist or you die. So the second combo is using the German guy. You discard it, right into Youthberk. Right into Youthberk, then you can Soul Blast, because you can sequential difference. Yeah, Soul Blast 1, call it onto the board. Then you can actually then use your grade 2, EB3, and then bring this back to your hand. If your opponent's damage denying you, you can get, exist in your hand, so you can ride for free. Or if you want, you can fish out something else and then counter blast later to rewrite from the drop zone. NKO, activate from the drop, bind it. Then you can use Teeth Vault. Then you can, let's say, then Soul Blast this out. Look at top 5. Choose another choose a card to call among it. Let's say you call Corino from the deck. Then technically you can search the deck again for another exist. Put it into the soul if you wanted to. So then it just helps you secure it. So the consistency of this deck has been improved a lot because now you can ride from drop or hand. So you're almost always able to guarantee to going into exist. So this is what your average ideal grade 3 turn looks like. Your first grade 3 turn. You have the German guy and the long hair Silver Knight guy. So you will attack with this guy first. The reason why you want to swing with this guy first is that he's a 15k beater because of the fact that you have a Youthberk Vanguard in his name. Your Knight guy with the blonde hair, he only gains the power if you decide to Soul Blast one. And for each card Youthberk, it has to be Youthberk specific. It can't be its right line because they're not Youthberk. So for every Youthberk in the Vanguard circle, he gains 5k. So by doing so, you only get 5k. So it's not really that great. At least if you're poking with the 15k shield, it forces your opponent, which they will be ideally a grade 2, it will force them to dish a 10k value guard card. Versus hitting with this one, it's on 10k to 10k. they can guard it with the 5k. Upon swinging this, that's a 15k, then you'll swing with the Vanguard. In this case scenario, you could boost with it, giving it a 21, potentially up to 26 because of the 5k if you played an order, or if you have more rear guards than your opponent, it's 26k. The reason why you don't want to boost it sometimes is the fact that upon drive checking, you can stack the trigger onto this grade 1 or your other rear guard. It gives you an option. The reason why you want to have the option to put it onto the back row unit here is because upon rewriting it to exist, then that will gain the power of upon boosting a higher number. So you swing 13k, you do a twin drive. Hits, doesn't matter. You can then use Youthberk skill, either writing from exist from hand or from drop. But if you do drop, you have to do counter blast 1. So let's say you write it from hand. Upon writing from hand, you will then use build skill first. You will discard a card from your hand. It makes the drive check into 1. Upon writing into exist, then you will energy blast 3, restand this cutie, and then you get to give your front row 10k, and also well, you wouldn't, but if you had a exist in the bind zone, you'll get a Vanguard extra crit, and then you'll get an additional 20k instead of 10k to the front row. So at this point, you can now attack with the lower number first if you wanted to, or you can use his skill, Soul Blast 1. Now he'll gain 10k, because now there's 2 Youthberks on the Vanguard circle. So before it was only going to be 15k, but now it'll be a 20k. So you could do that. Hits, doesn't matter. Then you'll follow by your Vanguard with boosted with Saragon, do a single drive check. Then after doing a single drive check, then you use Saragon, retire, look at top 2, choose 1, bounce it to the hand, put the other one to the bottom of the deck, and then you'll swing once more, 15k poke. At the end of the turn, this exists, will go to bind zone, which will set you up for your ideal setup for Persona Ride to do a huge power boost attacks. In conclusion, should you play this deck? I would say yes, if you like winning playing hyper aggressive decks, having a small chance to win against a current meta deck such as Figilla or Minerva, and potentially Deep Lens. But just keep in mind, this cost of winning comes with a heavy price tag due to one single card that was introduced in DZBT 12. But it is a great deck to play. It's a very fun deck to play, especially while listening to Breaking the Rock. You could be breaking people's backs and their decks. That's about it, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.